Hey there, welcome to Central House. This is our small studio we have in turn, and I'm glad you can join me for something. So, come on through. Now, I'll make you take a seat here. So, as I get things prepared, you can kind of start enjoying the view. Maybe I'll show you quickly around. This is the tasting area. We'll make the tea, we'll try it, and then we'll see what's what. This is kind of, the relaxation part where, we can talk, discuss in a more easy environment. And very simply, this is the office and the stomach. Small and simple. Anyways, let's get back to it. Sorry for the mess, but we're kind of working on different things, and it's August, so I kind of lost track. Now, if I'll show you while I grab the tools I use. Today, let's start with a classic, matcha. Now, this is the most premium, actually, we only have the most premium matcha version available, the culinary version, which is more for cooking and to make lattes and cocktails, but we'll be having this today. No help, coach. Now, I'm gonna go grab a few things, ball our whisk, and then we'll get right to it. So here on the whisk ball is one thing. Here it is. This is usually my portable kit where I have my matcha paper everywhere, which is in a airtight pack, which if you magically just open, all the air comes out. You can open it slightly and voila. A little bit of smoke and a little bit of matcha. And this is what I have matcha. Then in my kit, it's just chasan bowl, a bowl, and a shaker. And these are my beads for my meditation practice. We'll maybe talk about that maybe. So what I need today right now for this is matcha, and we'll get cracking. Shiki noodles. Usually, we'll go for around, since we're drinking into 4 grams, more or less, around 100 mLs. Because you're here today, I'm going to be usually a bit, I like to go naturally with the matcha. You know that more or less is half a gram-ish. So knowing that, I'll kind of base myself on it. Water-wise, I still don't have that touch, so I might go waves, but matcha-wise, I kind of have the sense of it. And with this, all there is out, and it helps process the matcha bite. Love this stuff. Yeah. And now I usually like to do many people, I think the common practice is to have the passes through a strainer. I like to try to use the least amount of tools possible. Because, I mean, it has to be sustainable, portable, and, all that stuff. Otherwise, every time you have a strainer, then you have to stew it. But there is a key reason why that happens is because matcha kind of gets, especially good matcha, gets lumpy. I found this new process I do with the whisk, which helps me obtain basically the same result as the strainer, maybe not as perfect, but as you can see, it's nice and fine. Let's say 100 more or less. No, I think these are moments kind of to chat and, get to know each other better. And although you, the viewer, can be any type of viewer, so will probably will mainly be me kind of talking about myself and about general topics or recent discoveries or anything. It can also be help to prepare the tea I'm preparing. To begin this new, fresh kind of format of this natural flowing kind of video and conversation, I thought let's start from the beginning. How did I get here? I've been talking a little bit too much to the tea making process, but whisking kind of gave me a stark reminder that I need to be present for this. Because it's important, I like to try to make the best tea possible for my guest. So, this is an imperfect form. I like it to be a little bit more, oops, and I dropped it. That happens too. So, yikes. Quick fix, nice wash. No edits, now you know. So, now, woof. And here we are. Here's the matcha. And here's mine. So, Takyo. Not bad. Now, quickly about me, I don't want to go too long about it because I think although these dialogues and interactions we have, I want to keep them natural, I want to keep them free flowing, but I don't want to even make them too long because I think longer interactions will need to happen, and it's good that they happen after. So let's just briefly cover how I ended up here in Sencha House in the world of matcha and Japanese green tea. Believe it or not, I started my main goal out of high school was to become a golf professional. And that immediately after the first year at university in Scotland, where I saw what a real golf professional played like on the golf team, and was immediately relegated to the second team, and then kind of saw that I wasn't getting too much success there, was a big reality. Maybe because, I didn't have the mentality, I thought I wanted it, or maybe I didn't want it so much, but it still was a big hit. So, I've been doing that for basically all of high school, playing national competitions and all of that. And so that's how the dream kind of came crashing. And so I just was coasting through university in London. To be honest, I studied Japanese and went to Europe rather than Japan in university only because it was strongly suggested by my parents. And other than that, I knew I wanted to do something creative. I kept my options open with business, marketing, and all of that. And I had to do internships for my university degree. So 36 weeks, I think. So that was helpful, At least I explored. I did hotel reception, worked in a Cafe Graniano coffee company, sports management. So that was fun. And then eventually stumbled through acquaintances into an advertising agency, and they wanted to kind of get into the Japanese market too. And who better than a Japanese guy who kind of knows Japanese but knows Italian really well and understands vaguely the Japanese culture. So why not that? 3 years and a half in that advertising agency here in Turin, where my philosophy was purely work hard and play hard, and if not, maybe only work hard and not play too much. Long nights, probably working from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., 10 p.m., 9 p.m., never too early. Because the objective was, to crush it. It was that pure raw ambition. Despite everything else, sacrificing everything else. But it did work because after a year and a half, I did ask and get the title as CEO in the agency. So I officially became number 2. It did help that the owner of the company kind of acted as a mentor figure too for me. So that kind of gave me immediately the ins and outs. She taught me many things. Everything I still kind of do as creative designer is a lot stems from these teachings. So I'm very thankful to him. The first main teaching I always remember that he taught me is, I know you're going to start and begin as an account manager, so managing the clients that you get and the works they request. But my suggestion is to learn all the Adobe software your graphic designers use, because they are gonna make a fool of you in terms of timing, how difficult the job is. Oh, you can't do that, you can do this. And that was so true. You can have deeper conversations on how the work can be done, and then they kind of know that they can't bullshit you anyways. So, and that was that. But and growing so rapidly, I kind of saw the limitations of that too. Furthermore, the advertising agency was a tense environment. It's super nervous. The first half of the year, you're always rushing to get clients, break even, go as fast as you can. And then the second half, you're kind of managing, but you're still kind of resolving every client's issues who always calls you last minute. And after that, there were some promises that were made, but then I saw he wasn't too up for that. So we had kind of our differences, and a new opportunity popped up with a close friend of mine to run his family art gallery together, which he was kind of taking a hold of. That was the first, entrepreneurial step. It lasted 5 years. I mean, it was during COVID years because I did start in 2018, so we could say 1.5 years weren't too active, but it's still part of life. That taught me a lot. I think that chapter we're going to, if you guys are interested, we might have to go into it deeper another time, because so many things that I've learned out of what people sometimes call failure too. Because how did it end? Me and my partner eventually grew apart. We no longer agreed on too many things, two fundamental aspects. COVID also made me way much closer and discover my Japanese heritage so much more, which is something, that relationship is something we'll talk about in another video, because it has been in turmoil. It's been hate and now love. And now, although I've grown so much and I've learned so much from it, the fallout of that is that friend is no longer a friend, and the business didn't go as we initially had the ambition to. So, basically, and then that, however, that didn't make me realize the type of environment I wanted, the type of energy I wanted around me, how serenity was such an important part of my life, and how you can. Japanese culture, Japanese people, and my new business partner, recent business partner, told me that it is possible to work in certain conditions and not necessarily with, tension, manipulation, anger, violence, and all of that. So you can also work in a very peaceful, friendly, and welcoming environment. And this is one part of the thing we're trying to create today. So this is just a short intro of how I ended here, a little bit of my background, to let you know how I will be digging deep into basically more of my profiles I want to be more active on. So I think I'll be sharing more of, I still enjoy playing golf, so I might be showing you a bit of that. And creativity and design is such an important part of my life, so we'll be probably sharing some projects that. I do kind of have the lucky fortune and gratefulness to be able to express most of it through projects through St. Charles as well. So anyways, I'll be sharing most of that, and most of all, the tea, which I've been thankful enough and fortunate enough to bump into one of probably the most quality, human, and authentic producers at Kagoshima, who's visionary because of how he invested in early in a matcha factory, and is now the only company probably in the Kagoshima area as a tea producer who owns its own matcha factory. The other ones are just, suppliers or outside companies. And that's that, I think. I hope you enjoy your tea, and I hope we had a nice chat. And see you the next time. I look forward to sharing another tea time with you, and we'll see you at the next video.